What if the barrier holding you back isn't real, but just a belief waiting to be shattered? Whether it's running a marathon, launching a startup, or doing something that no one has done before. In this video, I'm going to show you how to smash ceilings and how to achieve impossible goals through a concept known as borrowing belief.
Wait, you can do that?
In Top Gun Maverick, the Navy's top pilots are tasked with flying an impossible mission through steep canyons, under radar, and into hostile territory to destroy a heavily fortified target. And they have just 2 minutes and 30 seconds to get in and out before enemy defenses lock on. Maverick, a legendary fighter pilot, is called back into service with a nearly impossible task: train a new generation of Top Gun graduates to fly a mission no one believes is survivable. At first, the young elite pilots don't know who he is. They're cocky, competitive, and they think they already know it all. But as the training intensifies, one thing becomes painfully clear. None of them can complete the mission in the required 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It's just too fast, too dangerous, and no one can pull it off. Maverick keeps pushing them, insisting the mission can be flown in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. But the pilots, each among the best in the world, have already accepted a quiet, collective truth. It's impossible. The G-forces, the terrain, the sheer physics of it, to them, it's a death sentence. In their mind, it either ends in a blackout or on a mountainside. Eventually, one of the commanding officers loses faith and pulls Maverick from the role. A new instructor steps in and immediately extends the mission time to 4 minutes. Suddenly, it feels doable, but that extra 30 seconds means enemy fighters will now have time to intercept. To Maverick, it's madness. They're giving them a mission they can fly, yes, but they can't survive. Furious and desperate to prove it can be done, he takes matters into his own hands. While the pilots sit in the classroom, Maverick breaks protocol, fires up the jet, and flies the course himself.
You can't do that.
You just did.
Back in the classroom, the young pilots track Maverick's flight on the radar, and one by one, their jaws drop. He's flying the full mission profile: low attitude, tight turns, maximum Gs, and hitting every checkpoint. And then it happens. He crosses the finish in under 2 minutes and 30 seconds. In that moment, something breaks. Not in the sky, but in their minds. The ceiling of impossible shatters. It can be done, and now they've seen it. From that point forward, everything changes. The way they train, the way they push, the way they fly, because once you know it's possible, effort takes on a different shape. A new standard has been set, and belief becomes fuel. This is a perfect example of borrowing belief. If someone else has done it, then maybe I can do it too. In a moment, I'm going to unpack a 3-step mental model straight from Maverick's playbook. It's called the Belief Barrier Protocol, and it will allow you to borrow belief from others, shatter your own ceilings, and generate that forward-moving momentum when you need it most. Welcome to Mindflix, where we break down powerful moments from iconic films and uncover the mental models, life lessons, and big questions hiding inside them. If you like this video and want to see more, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another episode. Basically, the movie Top Gun Maverick is a masterclass on breaking barriers. The pilots aren't fighting enemies, they're battling inherent assumptions. Even though the squad trains endlessly, they keep hitting the wall because belief is the real limiter. And only after Maverick becomes the evidence, by flying it himself, does their reality shift. Now, of course, Top Gun is a fictional movie, but the following story actually happened. This is Roger Bannister, the man who proved that a ceiling is often just a story we've all agreed to believe. For decades, experts claimed that the human body simply wasn't capable of running a mile in under 4 minutes. Coaches, scientists, even doctors said it was impossible. Some warned that it could cause your heart to explode.
Totally safe.
The limit wasn't just physical. It had been cast in stone by authority, echoed by media, and cemented in collective belief. And yet, on May 6th, 1954, on a windy track in Oxford, Roger Bannister did the unthinkable in 3 minutes and 59.4 seconds. On that day, he shattered a belief that had held the world back for years. And as incredible as his performance was, what came after is the real story. You see, once he had broken it, others followed. Just 46 days later, John Landy ran an even faster mile.
So Bannister broke the record and made sporting history. And now, John Landy has shattered Bannister's figures by running the mile in 3 minutes 58.
And within a year, multiple runners had cracked the mark once believed to be biologically impossible.
But he becomes the first man to run a mile indoors in less than 4 minutes.
So what changed? Not the track, not the shoes, not the anatomy of the runners, the belief. The belief changed. Roger Bannister didn't just break a record, he broke the mental agreement holding everyone back.
And that's how Roger Bannister, the 25-year-old medical student, became the first man in the world to run a mile in under 4 minutes. 3 minutes, 59.4 seconds to be exact.
And that's the secret to smashing your own ceiling. If your belief is shaky, borrow someone else's, just like all those people who borrowed Roger Bannister's belief. Here's the 3-step mental model designed to unlock unshakable belief and allow you to do the impossible. Step 1. Find the precedent. In this first step, your goal is to gather evidence. First, the most obvious question. Ask yourself, who has already done this? And if the direct path looks blocked, if no one has done what you're trying to do, scout sideways by asking yourself, who's done something similar in another field? For example, say you're launching a wild business idea that no one has been able to do. In this case, scout sideways and try to find the adjacent wins, like Airbnb's disruption of hospitality, or like how Uber didn't invent taxis, but they reinvented trust, logistics, and convenience. You're not looking for a carbon copy. You're looking for proof that reinvention is possible. Because once you spot a precedent, even a sideways one, your brain begins to soften its grip on impossible. And that's the crack where belief starts to seep in. One of the best ways to find your precedent is through biographies and non-fiction books that chronicle real achievements. Yes, first-hand experience is the most powerful teacher, but second-hand experience, especially through detailed storytelling, can be nearly as impactful. Books give you a front-row seat to someone else's journey. You get to walk beside them, feel their doubts, witness their setbacks, and see how they pushed through. And that's more than inspiration. It's a blueprint. Step 1 is about finding those lived moments that you can borrow. You're not just reading a story, you're borrowing belief from external proof. And once that seed of belief is planted, the next step is to build momentum, turning that borrowed belief into something personal, actionable, and yours. Step 2, build the bridge. Translate their success into your context. Don't stop at inspiration. Study how they did it. Then reverse engineer a path that fits your resources, your strengths, and your constraints. Ask yourself, what were their first steps? What principles did they follow? How can I adapt this to my own mission? You're building a bridge of belief from their story to yours. For example, in The Pursuit of Happiness, Will Smith plays Chris Gardner, who is a struggling salesman on the edge of losing everything. His business is failing, his marriage is collapsing, and he's left caring for his young son with no steady income and nowhere to live. He's sleeping in subway bathrooms. He's lining up at shelters, and he's chasing clients with medical equipment he can't seem to sell. And then, on an ordinary sidewalk, he sees something that stops him in his tracks. A man stepping out of a bright red Ferrari. Polished, confident, happy. Chris looks at him and asks the 2 questions that change everything. What do you do, and how do you do it? That's the bridge moment. He doesn't just admire success from afar, he investigates it. He finds out that the man is a stockbroker, and instead of thinking, that could never be me, he asks, what would it take for that to be me? Chris learns that becoming a broker doesn't require a fancy degree, just intelligence, hustle, and someone willing to give you a shot. And so he starts studying. Then he applies, he fails, and he tries again. He learns the rules of the game and adapts them to his reality. He's not copying someone else's path. He's translating it into his own terms, using what he does have: grit, love for his son, and relentless willpower. That's how you build the bridge, from their success to your starting point. And that brings us to step 3, make a micro dent. Because belief without action, it fades fast. Once you've found your precedent, and once you've built the bridge and translated their success into your own context, now it's time to move. Not a leap, not a grand gesture, just one real, small, visible step forward. Belief needs motion, and the fastest way to reinforce belief is to act on it. Even if it's messy, even if you're not 100% ready. Start the blog, make the call, film the first video, or run the mile. This micro dent tells your nervous system, this isn't a dream, this is no longer a wish, it's actually happening. And a great example of this lives in a surprisingly charming film called Julie and Julia. Julie Powell is stuck in a cubicle, feeling directionless. One day, she decides to cook all 524 recipes in Julia Child's cookbook in 1 year and blog about the journey. She doesn't know where it will lead. She doesn't have an audience. She just hits publish on day 1. And that's the dent. And that daily action, small but consistent, ends up changing everything. It builds momentum. It builds confidence. And eventually, it builds a book deal and a movie. But it started with one tiny decision. I'm going to do this today. That's the power of a micro dent. You don't need to believe in the entire staircase. Just take the first step with your own 2 feet. So let's bring it all home.
All right, let's do this.
In Top Gun Maverick, the mission never really was about G-forces or speed or enemy fighters. The real enemy was belief, the invisible ceiling in their minds that said, it can't be done. But once Maverick became the evidence, once he shattered that belief in front of their eyes, the entire squad's performance changed. They trained harder, flew faster, because now they had proof. And proof is contagious. And that's the power of the belief barrier protocol. Let's recap. Step 1, find the precedent. Find someone, anyone, who's done it before. Or something close. Scout sideways if you have to. And borrow their belief. Step 2, build the bridge. Don't just admire their story. Translate it into your own. Adapt it. Reverse engineer it. Make it make sense for you. And then step 3, make a micro dent. Belief grows stronger when you act. Take one bold step today. Not when it's perfect, not when you feel ready, now. And now it's your turn. What's one ceiling you've accepted as unbreakable? Write it down. Now go find your precedent. Study their steps. And then take your own. It doesn't have to be big, just real. That's how ceilings start to crack. If you want more mind-shifting questions and mental strategies like this, be sure to subscribe. Now go and make your dent. We'll see you in the next one.